Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a thriller series called The 8 Show. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The show opens with a young man named Jin Su overlooking the Han River. He stands on the edge of the bridge, contemplating his life. Despite never having very high ambitions, his life has been nothing but a big disappointment. And now, he finds himself with no option but to unalive himself. A montage of scenes then shows how Jin Su ended up in this position. It is revealed that he took all his savings, severance, and a loan of 900 million won. He then invested that sum in a startup business on the direction of one of his close friends. Unfortunately, the friend turned out to be a scammer and ran away with all the money. This led Jin Su soon into a very difficult position, with loan sharks banging on his door and threatening him to repay the loan. They even disturbed his neighbors, especially a woman with a baby, which added extra stress on Jin Su. To try and get on top of his debts, he took on odd jobs, such as cleaning windows for high-rise buildings. But deep down, he always knew that none of these gigs would make him enough money to pay off all of his loans. After the montage ends, the scene once again focuses on Jin Su, as he has fully given up on life and attempts to jump off a bridge. But a text notification on his mobile stops him from doing it. He checks it and is left speechless, as the notification says that 1 million won has been deposited into his bank account. In quick succession, 3 million more won are deposited into his account, accompanied by a series of cryptic messages. A confused Jin Su reads as the mysterious depositor says that they want to buy the time that he has given up on. Soon enough, a long white limousine shows up in front of him, and 2 million won more are deposited into his bank account, asking him to get in the vehicle. Jin Su reluctantly gets in the back of the limo and is soon dropped at an empty theater with a table placed in the middle of the stage. On the table are cards, numbered from 1 to 8, and a red envelope. Out of the cards, 4, 7, and 8 have been wiped clean. While the envelope contains a message, Jin Su opens the envelope, which contains details about a game called The 8 Show and its rules of participation. Turns out he will be paid for spending his time in the game, and it does not require any particular skills. Food and accommodation are provided while he is a contestant, so he does not have to spend money or rent a hotel. The longer he stays in the game, the more the prize pot increases. On the other hand, the game ends when there is no time left on the scoreboard, but in case any participant dies, the whole show will shut down regardless of how much time is left. Jin Su is also offered the chance to walk away with a cab fare of 20 million won cash that is kept right there on the table. At first, Jin Su assumes the whole thing must be a prank show where people can earn money by doing silly things on air. Sounds like Jin Su has been watching too much Mystery Recapped, but he starts to speculate a darker alternative, that it could be a cover for something like organ harvesting. Frightened, he decides to grab the 20 million won and walks away from the table, but he also begins contemplating his past and realizes how futile all the hardships are. Considering his life isn't great, Jin Su heads back to the table and chooses the card marked with the number 3. He then walks behind the stage curtain and enters a studio with 8 levels. There is also a huge digital timer that seems to have been set for 24 hours. Meanwhile, his card grants him access to the 3rd floor, which has a plain room with a scoreboard and an intercom system. On top of that, all around the roof are several cameras. Under the scoreboard is a chute, which contains a uniform and a book that details additional rules to follow. During his time in the studio, Jin Su needs to store away his belongings and wear the uniform provided. He can buy items with his money at a special rate, but they have to stay in his room. Whatever he spends will be deducted from his share of the prize money. Jin Su is required to stay in his room between midnight and 8 a.m., and the cameras are not allowed to be blocked. If the rules are broken, half of the prize money will be taken away as punishment. The 8 Show begins at midnight, which is stupid. Thus, Jin Su quickly changes into his uniform. Interestingly, he wins 30,000 won just by spending a minute in the game. This prompts him to do some quick maths, where he realizes he'll earn 43 million if he spends 24 hours in the game. If he spends a week there, he'll have enough to pay back his debt and get the loan sharks to stop terrorizing him. At night, Jin Su feels cold and tries to purchase a blanket through the intercom, but the big scoreboard shows that it costs a whopping million won for this. This finally makes him realize the catch in the 8 Show. The price of items here is a lot more than in regular stores. The game is challenging the participants to spend as little as possible. This prompts Jin Su to think economically, and he decides he'll make do, as he is used to living in poverty. He then buys himself discarded newspapers and a cardboard box to sleep on, and some used condoms and syringes to complete the image, which is all a lot cheaper. Jin Su gladly falls asleep thinking how the saying, "time is money," is literally true in his life.
Jin Su.
In the morning, he sees that he has made over 14 million won. Suddenly, a loud voice from outside announces everyone to gather on the ground below. Jin Su heads out to see 7 more participants in the square, and now the timer is increased to 35 hours. Moreover, everything in the studio, from the swimming pool to the food in the stalls, is fake and made of plastic. In fact, even the sunlight is fake, as it is simply a bright rotating light attached to the roof of the studio. The contestants greet each other, but do not introduce themselves with their names. Instead, they decide that each player should be known by their room number. So, for everyone else, Bai Jin Su will now be known as 3F. 1F is a man who limps due to some problem in his foot but refuses any help. 2F is a tall, rude lady with short blonde hair, while 4F seems like a cautious young girl. On the other hand, 5F is a middle-aged friendly woman, and 6F is a cocky, tough, middle-aged man. 7F wears glasses and is extremely smart with a sharp brain. Last but not least, 8F is a bubbly young woman who seems to have a carefree attitude. Since the stuff they buy in their room cannot be taken out to the square, 4F is worried about spending too much. She is also hesitant about buying from the chute in the common square because they do not yet know how much that would reduce from the prize money. However, 6F decides to find that out by simply ordering a box of cigarettes and a lighter from the common chute. Just as the purchases appear, the timer goes down by 2 minutes. 7F thus deduces that they buy items with their time while they're in the common square. Jin Su, who worked in a convenience store for several years, calculates that a minute is worth 2,500 won. But this adds one more piece of worrisome news. If they spend all their time, the game will be over. All the participants then sit down and discuss what to buy, but Jin Su discovers that they all have very different interests. After hours of brainstorming, they decide to buy essentials including buckets, toilet rolls, sanitary pads, garbage bags, and cigarettes to see them through their time. Soon enough, they also discover that food is an issue, and thus the group discusses what they're going to do about it. 8F reveals that she was given 12 different meal kits and 12 bottles of water earlier that day, but didn't know she was meant to share them. Thus, she ate whatever she wanted and took a bath with the water. At first, this obnoxious decision simply appears to be in line with her carefree character, but it is evident that she is not just a dumb privileged girl, as she points out that none of them are allowed to bring any items outside their rooms. To counter this problem, they collectively come up with an idea. 8F says that there is a chute in her room which can be used to distribute the food to the lower levels, but to make sure it is evenly distributed, they decide to go to each floor starting with the topmost. However, upon entering room 8F, the other participants get a huge shock. It is much bigger and has a massive window, a bathtub, a dining table, and a mirror, amenities that none of the other rooms have. On top of that, when a minute passes, 8F makes 340,000 won, which is more than what anyone else makes. Dumbstruck, everyone blurts out what they make per minute, revealing a hierarchy among the participants. 1F only makes 10,000 won per minute, while 2F makes 20,000 won. 3F makes 30,000 won, which is the sum total of what 1F and 2F make. Thus, 7F deduces that the money increases with each floor in a set sequence called the Fibonacci sequence. This new discovery is sure to breed jealousy, as no one understands why the top floor is favored above all the others. And what's so special about this Fibonacci guy? A flashback scene showcases how participant number 8 joined the show. She arrives in a limousine with blaring music through her headphones, unlike Jin Su, who was nervous and unsure. Even after reaching the theater, she displays excitement as she explores her new surroundings. After picking card number 8 without any analysis, she gets the biggest and most luxurious room. On top of that, she splurges on room decor until her funds hit zero. However, since the top floors make much more money, participant 8 wakes up from a nap to a large sum in her scoreboard. Fast forward to the present, participants sulk about their choice of lower floors due to limited earnings. Yet, they unite in their common goal of increasing time so that they can continue making more money. Participant 7 with the brains comes up with a brilliant plan to distribute the food equally. He explains that since they have 12 boxes of food, each participant only takes 1 box a day, and if they continue to feel hungry, the participants come down to the first floor and share food from the remaining 4 boxes. Later, Jin Su and participant 7 discuss the purpose of the show away from everyone else. Participant 7 theorizes that the show wants them to fight with each other, but so far, they have succeeded in working as a community. If they want to keep on making money, they should keep this momentum. Elsewhere, the other others are left fuming as participant 8 buys many clothes in the common area, decreasing their time massively. However, participant 8 reveals that there is a way to add time, and it involves stairs. With barely 10 minutes left, the participants start running up and down the stairs, without knowing if this would work. To their relief, when the clock hits 0, the time resets to 24 hours thanks to their physical exertion. The next few days, the participants run up and down the stairs during daytime, but they all seem more hungry than usual after a hard day at work. Amidst diminishing food supplies, they devise a strategy. They make 2 teams, one of which will climb the stairs while the other group rests. The group which does the work will get the extra food, and the roles are reversed the next day. Unfortunately, trouble arises when participant 1 cannot climb the stairs as quickly as the rest because of his bad leg. Participant 6, a tough, mean-looking man, ignores his disability and pushes him to do his work. However, participant 2 volunteers to take 1's place by subbing in for him. The same thing happens the next day, and Jin Su decides to help this time. With the guilt of others doing his work, participant 1 decides to be the sanitary worker and stores everyone's garbage in his room.
Joke's on them. I like garbage.
The following day, participant 7 detects irregularities in time extension. Despite their relentless stair climbing, time on the scoreboard continues to decrease unlike other days. Participant 8 decides to give up and nap since the time extension's not working, which infuriates the others. But once more, participant 8 displays her cunning nature as she points out that the people on top floors make more money per minute. This means that even if they work less, they'll have contributed more to the total scoreboard than the ones in the lower floors. As she retires to her room, Jin Su realizes that she is not just a happy-go-lucky girl, but also street smart, but also just lucky and spoiled. On the other hand, the rest of the participants keep running. After going for 6 hours, they notice the time slowly increasing. Finally, everyone goes back to their rooms near midnight, as per the rules of the game. The following day comes with more trouble as time begins to run out early in the morning. The participants hastily start running once more. However, participant 4 starts having seizures midway up the stairs. Luckily, participant 5 is a nurse and can help, but she needs a medicine called phenytoin. Participant 2 rushes towards the common area's chute to get medicine, but 6 stops her. He argues participant 4 won't die simply out of seizure, and they shouldn't waste their remaining time in buying medicine. However, this only infuriates number 2, and they get into an argument. Amidst the chaos, Jin Su seizes the opportunity in order to get the medicine, which shockingly results in a significant time increase. This makes participant 7 realize that the show needs entertainment, and their fight has led to the rise in time. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.